It was disgusting. Honestly, I'm so surprised they were not cited. I was hoping that I wouldn't have to quit and that they would just be shut down. You know, I'm a nice person, and I kind of like, even though I'm an introvert and I'm socially awkward and I have like some emotional childhood trauma that isn't resolved, I still interact with people, you know? Hey guys, welcome back to my borderline problematic channel. Now usually I'm giving you guys some advice that may or may not ruin your life, but today is story time. Oh yes, today I will be talking about how I quit my job 3 years ago. As we dive deeper into this apocalyptic season and up another level in Jumanji, I sat here and reminisced on all the crap that I had to put up with during my undergrad years. The unpaid internships, the minimum wage jobs, barely getting by wage jobs. So when I tell you I have the utmost respect for essential workers, I mean that, because people are absolutely, positively 3 years ago, I worked at this restaurant, if that's what you want to call it. Before working there, I used to go there often with me and my friends, but like, we would just go there to wait for the bus. So it wasn't like, hey, your food is good. It was more like, let me buy a cookie so I won't get arrested while I wait for the bus in this establishment. Now, it was the summer of 2017. Was it 2017? It was 3 years ago. It's a good year. And my parents, they were just like bugging me because they wanted me to get a job. And I'm just like, all right, it's the summer. I'm not trying to be here just as much as you don't want me to be in here. So I'll get a job. So I found out this restaurant was hiring and I applied. And within like 2 days, the manager called me back. That should have been like the first red flag, because I ain't have nothing on my resume really. I barely worked, you know. Completely dependent on my parents. So like, I'm doing the interview, and in the interview she's just like, do you come here often? I'm just like, yeah, I come here often, yeah. And then she said, well, do you know like everything that's on our menu? And I'm just like, yes I do. Now when I told her that I ordered the same thing every time I go there, and I have no idea how this business is ran or what they stand for, I didn't say it like that, but I basically said that. If she hired me on the spot, I should have knew right there and then I would be working for the chum bucket. You know, first day on the job, I'm just like, I'm ready. So I had to meet up with the manager again as soon as I got there. And you know what? Let's call the manager problematic woman number 1, or P1 for short. So I met up with P1, and she like assigned me to like learn how to do things from this little girl in high school. Let's call her Sis. So P1 instructed me to work with Sis that day, to follow her around and do what needs to be done. So I'm just like, all right, how bad can this be? So on our last tour of capitalism, she stopped me at the bathroom. Now like, we're just like staring at each other like, after like 5 minutes pass, I'm just like, do you have to pee? She's just like, no, at the end of your shift, this is what you clean every single day. So when I walked into that bathroom and looked around, didn't quit that day, but like, I saw where this was headed and I didn't like it. My first day as an employee came to an end, but my month of doom continued. Now there were 3 managers but 1 brain, but there was like a whole lot of people that thought they were like important, but they really weren't. They probably just made $1 more than me, and they were messy, like really messy. I learned more about their personal life than I did about the job. I learned how sis was lying to the boyfriend that she was with because she got pregnant by someone else and he thought that he was the father. I learned how the other chick had mommy issues. I learned how the dude didn't wash the dishes properly because he didn't feel like it. Now this was like a team of like Bad News Bears employees. I did not know how severely understaffed they were until my first week there. Like, they had me on the roster. Like, this was a part-time job. They had me on the roster for like every single day, even on holidays. So whenever I felt overworked, I would hide. I hid in the back room where they would like bring all the important people that wore like suits and stuff. Something shady was going on back there, but that ain't none of my business for $8 an hour. Now that back room was probably the nicest room in the entire restaurant because every other room, every other booth, every other inch of that restaurant was covered in filth. They were living foul. Not only was the garbage room right next to the kitchen, but they had the door open, and since it was the summer, bugs would come in and out of the kitchen. There weren't any air conditioning, so the food would be sitting out for a while, and it was disgusting. I'm so surprised they were not cited. I was hoping that I wouldn't have to quit and that they would just be shut down. Bugs were coming in and out of there on a daily, so I was just like, should I serve them too? Now this bathroom situation, I don't even want to talk about that because I feel like I'm gonna get triggered if I speak about that. I never cleaned this bathroom. I always pretended like I had no idea what to do so that other people would do it for me. What do I look like cleaning up someone's bodily fluids with gloves and a rag? It just was not happening. Only thing I did do in those bathrooms was change the toilet paper roll. I don't do toilets, especially public bathrooms where I'm only paid $8 an hour to clean. So like at this point, my resignation letter was already typed up and written and just waiting on a desktop to be printed. And this was only like week 2. So like I was saying earlier, the staffing problem, P1, she was a trip. She was a real trip because she didn't do anything, but she told everyone else what to do. And it's like, I get that you're like in a manager position or whatever, but like you're understaffed. There's literally like 5 people and we rotate. You need to put some gloves on and get to work, sis. One day P1 pulled me to the side and she was just like, you're pouring too much juice into that. And I'm just like, what? And she's just like, no, you need to add a lot more water. I'm just like, people are paying like $5 for this flavorless drink and you want me to add more water to it? Don't say I didn't warn y'all. Not only was the staff a mess, but the customers were rude, smelly, crusty, funky, ashy. Now I consider myself to be a very polite person because not only was I raised by parents that were old school, but by parents who were old. These funny looking customers had me ready to fight on a daily. There's this one old guy, like I don't know his situation, so I'm not gonna like dig deep into him, but he would come there every single day and just sit. He would always use the bathroom, and every time he came out of the bathroom, there was a trail of hair. There was clumps of hair everywhere. He didn't flush the toilet. There was hair everywhere, and I was expected to clean that up. So after a while, I just started blocking him from entering. Well, not like entering, but I started blocking off the table that he normally sat at, and dude would just leave. Problem solved. Despite the lack of professionalism and the ignorant customers, I stuck it out because I am not a quitter. I am a suffer in silence and cry myself to sleep sort of person. Honestly, I probably would have just like toughed it out, at least finish like 2 months. I didn't expect to quit after a month. P1 decided to throw out some new rules. It was a wrap. Now for my job, I had to bust the tables. I had to clean up after people who just had no sort of home training at all. I had to mop. I had to change the garbage. I had to clean the bathrooms. But this new rule she tried to put out, P1 expected me to complete these tasks with no gloves on. I quit. I'm done. It's a wrap. Cut it out. That day I went home and printed out my resignation letter. So as I waited for these 2 weeks of terror to come to an end, my aunt passed away. So it was like towards the end of my shift, and I'm just like, I asked my manager if I could take the day of the funeral off, and she was just like, as long as you can find someone to cover your shift. Oh, so you want to fight like now or later? So I did what any reasonable person would do. At the end of my shift that day, I never returned. And that is how I quit my job. Now, I'm not gonna lie, there were like some bright sides to this job because, you know, I'm a nice person. And I kind of like, even though I'm an introvert and I'm socially awkward and I have like some emotional childhood trauma that isn't resolved, I still interact with people, you know? So I kind of made friends with like the bakery team, and they would give me free cookies. And also it was close to the busway, so it was easy access for me. And also there were a lot of stores around, so whenever I had my lunch break, I would go to those stores and fill out applications. Yep, the wonderful world of capitalism and oppression. Now personally, I feel for people that actually need this job. You know what I mean? Me, I'm blessed to say that I still live with my parents, so like whatever I don't have, they provide for me. But even though like I hate like depending on people, I don't like that feeling. So that's why I took on this job, so I can get money for myself. But for people that actually need like this job, like these corporations got to do better, because we're human too, and we would just like to make a decent pay and not have to do stuff that you wouldn't even do. And that, my friends, is the story of how I quit my job. Like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, and I will see you guys next Wednesday. My show.